Good morning, it's Jonathan Barrett with the Morning Debrief. It's the 18th of March, Friday the 18th of March. The current time is 8:24. Quite a good night. The market last night took, I think, good results out of the economic data that came out of America, particularly manufacturing, which was relatively positive. Also concerns again in Bahrain. That seems to be a little bit of a point there. Major issues there are obviously sectarial, but the feeling is that could spread to other parts, the greater area being Saudi Arabia and Iran. So we're pretty close on that. Oil did have a bit of a bounce as a result of that. Looks like the number one reactor, or the reactors, nuclear reactors in Japan, seem to be contained. The water, the seawater they're pouring on it seems to be cooling it, and we've had some marked improvements there. Looks like the market did have a little bit of a relief rally last night. The Dow was certainly up, certainly up 161 points. We'll just get that there now. Up 161 points. The S&P was up 16, the Nasdaq was up 19. Looking further afield there, and just looking at the other parts of the market, you can see that the FTSE, or top 50, was up 864, the FTSE up 97, the CAC 89, the DAX was up 143. So I think quite positive there. The local market didn't do as well as we thought. It was up 18 at 4,575. So if anything there, a little bit of concern. On the currencies, or just let's we go back to just discuss some of the other news. Just in terms of the data we had out last night, it was quite encouraging, and that's a sixth straight rise in manufacturing in the US. So I think that in itself is quite positive. Also, we did have a little bit of concern on inflation. That's why we saw gold actually just up a little bit. That food inflation was the highest number we've seen in quite a while. And I'll just get that number now, just have a little bit of concern. There we go. Consumer price rose 0.5% in February. That's the biggest rise in food costs since 2008. So is a little bit of a concern, and that's why we saw gold up just a fraction there. But having said that, the whole market seems to have rebounded on the commodity front, and this could be as a result of what's happening in Japan in terms of it's the people feeling now that we've got closure or getting closure on the concerns. So now we just have to rebuild. If we have to rebuild, what do we need? And obviously that's primary imports. We did initially feel there'd be a dip in some of our primary imports. That has occurred, and we have been suggesting that dips all look quite good. If we do get any dips in some of these, then I still think it's not a bad thing to look to buy. Copper, and you've got iron ore, you've got coal, all these primary imports still look good. One thing we will talk about, and as you can see the chart up there, is natural gas. Now, the big thing about the natural gas is it's been depressed for such a long time due to quantity. But I think with what's happening in Japan, with the reactors, people are going to readdress the issues, readdress what's actually happening there, and as a result of that, in terms of the nuclear issues, if there's, just hang on, know what's happened there. Oops. I'll just move that there, a little bit of an issue there. Okay, there we go. Readdress what's happening with nuclear power. As a result of that, you'll probably find that people will address a cleaner and alternative, cleaner and cheaper, and that's natural gas. As you can see the chart here for natural gas, and this does look like it's a low-risk trade anyway. It's 385. We had a very large move last night. We have been monitored for a while. That's the first. So if anything, I think natural gas will be a primary focus for people when they're looking for power generations. And as a result of that, this price should go high. In fact, it should have quite a large rise from here. We're certainly looking for a break of upwards of 25% on it, just given the refocus that people will see on it. So let's see how that unfolds. But okay, just moving quietly back onto some of the others. The dollar index, dollar under pressure, and you can see here right on these lows again. Double low here. Let's see what happens there. Very big support here for the US dollar. If it breaks that, it's a different concern. Crude gold, 1403. At the moment there, it's steady. Those inflationary concerns and bits and pieces might see a little bit of a lift in gold, but it seems to be quite steady. Crude was the big one. We've always suggested just don't go short this market. It's 101, 102, and I think obviously there's a greater uptick of interest in there, and obviously with what's happening in the Middle East, you're seeing that prices will attempt back through the top side. Copper had a good lift, which was quite good. Copper, strong move last night, up around about $14. That is a bit of a low there, and I think you'd be quite happy to run with it. And I think that looks okay. Looking at the currencies now, and we mentioned crude, copper and all that. Looking at the Aussie, a little bit of a low there in place for that Aussie. Don't be caught out by it. It still feels that, but it has a good bounce there, so I'd expect it to go sideways. Now, one thing we have always mentioned about and talked is basically on the grains, look to buy on dips, and we've had some very good moves last night in wheat, soya and corn. For those on the spread, it's still okay, but when you just have a look at wheat, very solid moves there, and if I go down to that hourly chart, you can see that we had some very strong moves off the low. So dips can be bought on wheat, soya and corn. If you are short the corn-wheat spread, that's okay. You can keep it there. Of course, we still think that corn has not had a greater increase than the others. That's if you're a spread trader. If not, well, then I still feel you can have a look at being long these as an outright. Okay, in terms of economic numbers now, and if you have a look at the economic calendar, there's not a lot out tonight. We had it all out last night. That was the big ticket items, and in America we've got nothing, so it should be pretty quiet. Well, that's pretty much about it from myself. To have a look at that natural gas, we have been putting it on the tweets all week. It has had a good move, so we're pretty excited about that. So let's just see how it goes, but we feel there's a lot more in it over the next couple of weeks. That's about it from me. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye for now.